G-Left, thanks for stopping by the Airstream. Congrats on the new record, and I hear this is your first time down at South by Southwest. So,
Yeah.
as far as like influence with this new record, because I know, I mean, you're a legend as far as in the industry goes. I mean, you've put out record after record, and you just keep getting more and more. Where do you get that influence for it? Like, where does it all just come from?
Well, I guess the root of what I've always tried to do is been in the Delta blues, and originally I was really hooked on Bob Dylan and the Beatles, and I was playing acoustic guitar and writing a lot of tunes. Really, I think as a young kid, like listening to listening to the Beatles and Bob Dylan, just subconsciously made me have a desire to start writing songs. And then I would start writing songs, and then once you write a song, then you feel like, man, you want to go play it in front of somebody. So I started going to open mics when I was a teenager, and then it was there I noticed that a lot of other people were also influenced by Bob Dylan and the Beatles. So I said, well, I got to figure out something new. And then about that time, I started playing harmonica on the rack, and again, Bob Dylan was the only, and Neil Young was the only person I knew. So I went to this record store in Philadelphia called Third Street Jazz, and I said, does anybody else play harmonica rack and acoustic guitar solo performance? And they turned me on to John Hammond and this record called Country Blues by John Hammond, and I took it home and I put it on, and that was like definitely, I remember that moment really clearly. It was that was the first real musical epiphany, because the minute that record came on, it was John's version of Statesboro Blues, or it was Traveling Riverside Blues, and I just remember that guitar twanging and the harp, and it was just like, whoa, this was taking acoustic guitar playing and harmonica playing to a whole different level, and I said, that's what I want to do, and so that kind of led me on my journey to trace back from John Hammond's records all the people that he was learning his thing from, which were people like Lightning Hopkins and Big Bill Broonzy and Muddy Waters and Robert Johnson, Sleepy John Estes and John Lee Hooker and Mississippi John Hurt and Mississippi Fred McDowell, and that list goes just way on, and it's like a whole journey that I kind of dedicated my life to trying to pursue. And my thing is that I always like to take what I can learn off those records, and when I'm trying to figure out an old Robert Johnson tune, you don't know if the vinyl was sped up or whether he was capoed or if he was playing some kind of funky tuning. You're just trying to figure out what the hell he's doing, So like you end up coming up with this unique stuff on the guitar, and then also just as a white kid trying to sound like Muddy Waters or Howlin' Wolf, just trying to push my voice in different directions that wasn't really raised to go. You know what I mean? And so that kind of I would take what I learned from those old blues tunes and then write them into my own music, and then mix it with the music of my generation, which was hip hop, and that's how I kind of got my thing.
Cool. Well, I mean, it's been working for you. I mean, you got the years behind you, and
Yeah.
you got plenty more coming up. When you're in the process of coming up with the new tunes, because you've collaborated with a lot of artists like Ben Harper, Jack Johnson, Tristan Prettyman, do you write one with that person in mind that, this would be so killer if I could get them to do the backup with me, or do you just have it and then when someone's available, you're like, hey, you want to do this with me?
Well, I mean, just those three people you just mentioned, like I did a song with Tristan called Beautiful, and we actually met on tour, and we wrote that song together probably the third day that we met each other, and just vibing. And then Jack Johnson and I, we met, and the first day we met, we went surfing, and then we played guitar for a couple hours and traded songs back and forth. And that was cool because we cut this song of mine called Rainbow, and it was a song that, well, was basically kind of just based on like a Mississippi John Hurt kind of finger picking. It was a real basic kind of blues song, and I never thought about recording it. It was just because I always had like what I consider to be music that I would record, and then music that I was just write for myself, which was more like kind of stuff I'll play for you guys today. Rainbow was just one I thought was just, just one for me to play on the front porch, and Jack really always liked that. After he got super famous, he said, "Man, you should cut that song on the record," so we put it out on his record label. And but that was cool. And then working with Ben Harper, Ben's one of, I think, the greatest, guitar players and singers of our generation, and we've crossed paths over the years so many times, and finally we got a chance to go in the studio a couple years ago for my record Lemonade, and Ben came in and we did this cool, he had his little beer can amp, and he plugged in his slide guitar and just beer can amp, and we did a song called Let the Music Play. That was a pretty cool hybrid of a song, because it was really kind of a, like a, almost like a Lee Scratch Perry kind of groove, and then we put the slide guitar, and it was called Let the Music Play. But
Cool.
that was a cool collaboration. But
Right on. Yeah, so Fixing to Die coming out. Tell us what's it all about. I know I read it goes back not just in the past like year or so, but it's almost like a collection of your life and everything. So what's up with the new one coming out?
well, Fixing to Die is like, I was saying how I always kind of had two sides of my music. One music that I was doing on stage that was more hip-hop oriented, and one music that I was keeping at home more than bringing out on stage, which was, what I play for you guys today, which is more of my Delta Blues style songs that I wrote, like my original kind of take on Delta Blues, and then my own renditions of some older songs like Fixing to Die, which is the title track of the record. But this record was really like, the label was finally like, why don't you make a blues record, and so it's really a record that I've been trying to make for 20 years now, and just never had the opportunity, and people behind me pushing me to do it. So it was really a blessing to get to make this record finally. It was like a second chance to make a first record for me, and to go back and get to play some songs that I wrote as a teenager when I first started writing songs, and to play some of my own renditions of some old Delta Blues tunes, and then some of my newer material, like the song Milk and Sugar and Heaven. And I really feel like this record's more me than a lot of records I put out, so I'm really excited about it. It's almost like a new chapter in my career, and just moving forward as the real Garrett Dutton, man.
Well, right on. Thanks so much, man.
Cool, thanks a lot.